I'm here at the Franklin, Tennessee Whole Foods because where else would a manly vegan be on a Wednesday morning? I wanted to share this brief story, which I hope you find encouraging in some way. So last night, my son had this like science fair thing. He's in kindergarten, and we went to this science fair. I took him to this science fair, and me being almost 36, me being 35, I obviously couldn't help but notice. I'm like, okay, where do I stand amongst my peers? You know, not to say that every man was 35 going on 36, but largely, most men were around my age. They were maybe a few years younger, maybe a few years older. Largely, I'd say that age 35, 36 was the norm there. And so it's interesting seeing where I stand among them. And as we've already probably discussed, I'm right there kind of in the middle of everybody. Actually, no, I'm not. Not what I saw. I actually saw that I'm more on the side of having hair than not. Most men I saw, I'd say at least a third, where they didn't have any hair on top. I'd say the guys who did have hair were obviously kind of where I'm at, like as far as obviously having a hairstyle for the sake of downplaying the fact that they're losing their hair. Actually, there were few men who just had, a Norwood 1 or 2, really, honestly. And so it was encouraging to me. I mean, not to compare myself and think, oh, I'm better than them, but to think, it's just a reminder that, okay, wow, at age 35, almost 36, I lucked out. I mean, ultimately, according to my own expectations, I never thought that I'd still have this much hair at this age. But also where it relates to you is a reminder that we're all ultimately equalized in about a decade. I'm assuming you're in your 20s because I see the demographics on my channel, and I know that most of you are younger than me. Most of you are in your late teens through your early 20s. And so I know that if you're dealing with going bald sooner, maybe you're a Norwood 4 or 5 and you're in your 20s, there's nothing I can say to make that better. There's no words of salvation I can say to you that'll suddenly, oh yeah, if you do this, you can keep your hair. I mean, sure, we can talk about Rogaine and hair transplants and all that, but as far as some kind of easy solution and thing that's going to make it okay, I don't have that to offer you because that doesn't really exist. You can find a way to deal with it, but there's not just this easy thing that makes it okay. But the little bit of encouragement, if this serves as an encouragement to you, is that for what it's worth to you, in about how many years? A dozen, 10, 8, 5. We all kind of get lumped in the same category where when you're my age, which remember, that is your future, assuming you're not driving a motorcycle and getting yourself killed, right? So don't drive a motorcycle. But ultimately, you realize that most of our lives, we're going to be dealing with hair loss. Most men. Very few make it to the very end with hair, and those who do are probably biting their nails the whole time thinking, am I next? So I know that it's hard when you're in your 20s, but man, when you get to your 30s, if you still have hair, you realize, wow, I'm actually special at this point. So just fast forward a decade, and then what you're going through hopefully gets better because you realize that you're part of the norm. I hope this finds you an encouragement because that's how I mean for it to be. I'm Nick Shell, and I'm arguably obsessed with hair loss.